Hey, it's 8 in the morning. I'm tired, but I can't sleep. Don't you just love it when that happens? Yeah, so I'm just hanging out in the blue chair, the thinking chair right here. That's what this is. Um, and this chair has made, it's been a this prominently on display in these on this channel for like the last 2 years because this actually is not my chair, believe it or not. This is my dad's chair, all right? And this chair is at least 20 years old. Um, I don't know if I own it or not right now. Maybe this is my chair after all. The point that I'm trying to make is that I remember the day that we got this chair, all right? We got it at the furniture store, right? I don't know how much it cost, like 2002 money. It's probably like, half the price that it would be today, right? But you know, we brought this chair home and it was for my dad and he wasn't my dad at this point, right? But not relevant to the story, but we brought it and like I don't know, I'm like 4 or 5 when this is happening, right? And like, my entire ethos is defined by cartoons and whatever. And the most cartoonish thing that I could possibly think of, I thought, hold on. Let's put this chair underneath like a little like a sheet so that like when dad gets back he can pull the sheet off and see the chair. And it was, and like when the sheet went on the chair, it's like it form perfectly fits the form of the chair, right? So you'd have to be half brain dead to not realize that it's a chair. But it but I mean, that's just an example of how far I've fallen. I used to be so innocent and pure back then. Cause that's just all right, like I don't care, dude. That's adorable. Oh, that's that. I think my life peaked when I was 5. I'm gonna be 100% honest. But like, it's just that's just a random idea. Like this chair has been like a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And yet, that's just a memory that sticks out just because of how, you know, patently adorable it was. But that's not the like when I was thinking about that, I had another memory come up. I realized that like back when I was that young, like my entire goal in life was to drive. My only goal in life was to be able to drive, okay? Like I was pulling into the parking lot here at the apartments a couple of nights ago and I drove in and like I'm pulling in, I'm realizing, you know, back when I was like 6, I could only dream of doing this. I'd literally have dreams of driving cars back when I was that young. And I mean, just to put it into perspective, like, this thing that I just do without even thinking, I haven't had to like pay attention while driving for like the last 8 years. It just comes naturally, you just after a while you're just like, yep, pushing down the gas pedal, you can literally like you're just muscle memorying driving up to, 25 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. You just feel it out like you're not even thinking while it's happening. And yet when I was like 6, like that, that's what I wanted to do more than anything in the world. I remember like when I was really little, like several adult people in my family would allow me to like sit in their lap while they were working the pedals because I'm too short to reach the pedals right. But they let me sit down in their lap in the driver's seat and hold on to the steering wheel while I'm going down the highway and whatever. That was like the highlight of my life. I got to do that with um, my grandpa's camper once, and thinking back on that, the 6-year-old on the steering wheel for this full. It's not a full size camper. It was like, one of the tiny ones. It wasn't an RV. It was a camper. All right, and you know, maybe that wasn't the greatest thing to do, but that unlocks another memory. Okay, when I was around about the same age, my actual dad, my deadbeat. That's what I refer to him as my deadbeat. He came around, and he came around like once or twice a year, and it would be like a earth-bending experience. Like my actual dad, the one that actually matters, the one that we got this chair for. He didn't like live with my mom until like for a while. He'd live on and off with us, but like he lived in different places in town, and then he moved to South Dakota for a summer, and that was a fun summer. I have video footage of that. I should upload that someday. But well, when my deadbeat comes around, it's like, oh my god, it's my fucking dad. Where have you been? Could you stay? Can you stay? Being raised exclusively by your mom and your grandma, not the greatest upbringing you could possibly have in 21st century you know, zeitgeist, right? But this memory sticks out because I have no positive memories of my deadbeat besides this. He came down one day, and like we were doing things, and like I told him, probably about like how, oh, all the time my mom lets me, get in front of her in the car, and like I get to use the steering wheel and shit. And he was like, "Ite." So we fucking went, around town. I don't know. He had like a convertible or something. It was a really nice car. It probably, cost all of the child support that he should have been sending my mom, but you know what? Sticks and sticks and stones, right? But like, he let me drive that. And like, this is what sticks out is that when we got back to the apartments, we were living in an apartment then too, I just can't escape these fucking things. We pulled into the parking lot. I did. I'm on the steering wheel, and the thought comes into my brain, like, I'm gonna park in my mom's spot. Because I knew that would like, it would make my mom mad, right? But it wasn't like an inconvenience in any way, shape, or form. It was the greatest prank that had the fewest casualties in the history of pranks. All right. And there's just more evidence that I'm just beyond, hope. I did that. But I was pure at one point. I did have good intentions at one point in my life, because like that was like the most harmless prank that I've ever played on anyone in the history of like society. And that happened, and that's like the only positive memory that I have with my deadbeat. So it's like, that one sticks out, and the memory is me trolling my mom. Like it barely even involves him. So that's, that should go to show you how everything is shaken out on that home front. But yeah, it's just and but yeah, like I do that all the time. Like when I was 9-ish, I was finally like tall enough to work the pedals. And my dad got this, my actual dad, the chair dad. We're gonna call him we're just gonna call him dad because that's what he is. My dad got this like 96 Ford Contour or something, like I couldn't believe these things existed. It's like a Mercury Cougar except Ford. It's got the Ford badge on it, right? And he got that thing fixed up and running, and like I'm like 9 years old, and he's like, "Yo, dude, you wanna drive this thing?" And I'm like, fucking kidding me? Of course I want to drive this thing. And that was when I first worked the pedals of car. Like we just drove down the street and back. It wasn't anything exciting, but like that was the only thing on my mind for like the next year, is how awesome that was. Like, and he was sitting on the seat. Like once again, like I just sat, on his lap, but I was able to reach the pedals. Like I was working the thing, but he was right there in case I decided to, veer off into the creek or something. But yeah. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I've wanted to drive my entire life, and now here I am driving. It's very nice. I like it. Um, but this ties into something else. Strangely enough, is that there was this tweet that I saw a few months ago. Yeah, Whenever a sentence starts with "there was this one tweet," the story's not going to go in a good direction. But like, I saw this tweet, okay, and it was this lady like quoting a local story of like this 14-year-old who like worked like 40 hours a week or whatever and like saved up enough money to buy their own car like over the course of a summer. And like I look at that story and I'm like, God damn, what a Chad. That's the American dream. Good shit. I highly approve of this child's career prospects. But the fucking tweet that quoted this was like, oh, how dare those awful parents force their child that they bore into this world? How dare they? How dare they force this poor innocent child to work their fingers to the bone? They should just buy the car for them anyway. And it's like, excuse me? Excuse me. You want to run that by me one more time? You think that they should just fucking hand this car to this child without any assumption of responsibility? That's literally what the tweet said. Literally, the tweet said that they should have just bought the kid the car instead of forcing them into the workforce at such a young age. It was so fucking overdramatic. And what pisses me off the most is that this wasn't like ratioed. This tweet had like 20 fucking thousand likes. And I was just about like, are you serious? Are you serious? You want... I get it. I get it. I wanted my parents to buy me a car. And they were like, fuck no. You need to work for it. And I'm glad that they made me do that, dude. I'm so fucking glad that they made me do that. My parents have made me the most financially responsible person, I think, in all of Generation Z. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. I am a penny pincher. I try my best to not spend more than I make. I try to put like an entire paycheck a month away into savings. All right? And like I live fine. I mean, look at this. Look at this place. It's not, by any stretch of the imagination amazing, but like this apartment rocks. And I'm not even paying that much for it, right? I got internet. I don't have cable, all right, so losing a few points there, but I got internet. There it is behind the TV. I got food in my fridge, I got a phone with a cell phone plan, And I wanna stress this point is that when I got my first car, I didn't pay for it in full. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah. When I got my first car, it was either 3,900 or 4,900. My dad traded in a piece of shit Oldsmobile Alero that he didn't even want anymore, and we got $800 out of that trade in. But everything else I paid for. My parents paid for the rest of the time, but I paid them back. Essentially, I paid my parents at least $3,000 in order to own that first car. And that they didn't buy it like the instantaneous second that I walked in and got my first job, right? I've been in the workforce since age 15. Okay, there's a lot of people that graduate college at age 22 that have never worked even a part-time job. And I've been working for 9 years. 9 years. 9 years and a few months of my life I've been working, all right? And, you could say that oh, how dare your parents make you miss out on the last remaining threads of your childhood. How dare they? How very dare they? It's like, if my parents hadn't made me work from age 15 to now, if they hadn't made me work for the car, if they hadn't made me work for the computer, I paid for the computer, that computer and my old computer. $900 I put down on my first computer. I paid for it in full that day, when I bought it, right? And it's like, do you have any idea how amazing the feeling of having your own money is? How amazing the feeling of not having to rely on someone else to keep you alive. Like, I am completely in control of my life financially right now. The only thing holding me back is the fucking student loans that I wasted 40 fucking $1,000 on. But besides that, like they're like $200 a month. So it's like, no, it's sustainable. Like, I'm not losing money just due to the fact that I have, student loan debt. If I hadn't had that experience of like trying to manage money in my teens and like, carefully consider my purchases, because like when I was working my first job, I was at minimum wage. I was at $7.25 for a good 3 months. Okay. And like right after I got my first raise actually is when I jumped. I think I jumped up to $9 an hour, and that was right around about the time that we got that the awesome Corolla with the wing that I miss every day. But yeah, like, when you have car payments to make to your parents, you can't just go out to eat, every day of the week. You can't just, buy a bunch of games on Steam. You have to actually think about where your money's going. And if you don't get that experience when you're young, it's difficult to learn that once you become an adult, when you're out on your own for the first time. And I think that's a big contributing factor as to why, a lot of people my age are still living with their parents. Like, they don't have that mental capacity in order to move out on their own and handle their own financial situation, because they didn't get that experience at a young age. They didn't get that opportunity when they were young and depended on their parents. They didn't get that opportunity to like dip their toes into the real world while in high school, and they just never pick up that stuff. They'll go apply for 10 credit cards, max all of them out, file for bankruptcy at age 23. And it never ends. You'll have people that will spend their entire paycheck the day they get it. And it's really just a sad state of affairs. But like, what really pisses me off about that tweet is that they literally, that person that made that tweet, 20,000 people that liked it, they have never spent a minute in the real world. It's that same, like more recently, I saw that tweet like last year, and it still pisses me off to this day. But like, more recently, the battle, like the revolution against bedtime, like you'll get these tweets that get 2,000 likes that say, children should not be forced to go to bed early. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm trying to take your ideology seriously. I really am. But fucking abolition of bedtime. You have never lived. You have never had a single minute in the real world. You have never, ever had to defend for yourself at any point in your life if you want to abolish bedtime. Shut up. It's the stupidest shit that I've ever seen. But, like, and this is kind of off the wall, but like, when I was starting at $7.25 an hour, like they had just recently upped the minimum wage over the course of a few years from like 5 something to $7.25, and they'd just done that like 3 years prior. And what was that, 2009-ish? When I started working in 2012, they'd just done that. And like ever since I've started working, they have not increased the minimum wage. And for the longest time, I was like, what the fuck? We should raise the minimum wage. And I still believe that to an extent to this day. However, who is paying minimum wage at this point? If you are a minimum wage employee right now, you have no one to blame but yourself. I go around town here, And I see people advertising $21 an hour, $24 an hour. I've seen some, and I see people online posting all these like pictures of signs saying, we'll hire you starting wage $32 an hour. And it's like, it's a worker's market right now, which is insane because, everyone's on fucking unemployment. And it's like, I'm amazed that the supply line issues, the supply chain issue has only just crept up because we've had people out of work for a fucking year and a half at this point, okay? A year and a half since this stupidity started, okay? And like, and what's even more just stunningly stupid, just it boggles the mind how brain dead society is right now. We absolutely are living in a society, ladies and gentlemen. This is just beyond the point of parody. We are living in a South Park episode. I am dead serious, dude, because we got people who are able-bodied and willing to work, that are being forced out of their jobs because they don't want to get the vaccination. And like half of that isn't even they don't want to get the vaccination. Maybe they do want to get the vaccination, but they literally can't because their doctor's like, yo, if you take this, you're probably gonna fucking die. Medical exemptions exist. Except the thing is that people are getting laid off in New York. In New York. Medical exemption from the vaccine. Doesn't matter. I don't care about religious exemptions. I am not religious. I don't care. I don't care about that. But people that are medically exempt who do not have the ability, scientifically, in paper, in front of them, saying that they cannot take this vaccine, they're still getting laid off. And they can't get unemployment benefits. This is happening in New York. This is happening. And it's fucking insane. And this is happening during a period where supply chains are so fucked that nothing is moving. Ships stranded in the ocean. Trucks sitting in lots vacant because no one is driving them, because no one's working, because they're all on fucking unemployment. What the fuck is going on? We're actually led by idiots. We are led by idiots. Our elected officials are fucking morons. They're all stupid. All of them. We're so fucked. And it's not gonna change. It's not gonna change. It's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. And that just ties back into the thing with the tweet, the tweet with the fucking, the 17-year-old that's like, you should just fucking buy the car for them. No. We need to shift the zeitgeist of society to, to lionize the idea of work. Work is good. Being a productive member of society is good. This COVID welfare state. I don't know if I'm gonna. This video might get taken down, dude. I don't even know if I could talk about this stuff, but this welfare state is not sustainable. The idea of welfare. I like the idea of welfare. Okay? Welfare for the people who actually need it, okay? Welfare for the disabled, okay? Disabled people have the right to exist like all the rest of us. But the thing is, through their disabilities, they cannot be a productive member of society, or at least as productive as someone like me who has control of all of their faculties, all right? Welfare for disabled people who deserve to exist but cannot produce the same amount as anyone else in society, that's good. That's good welfare. Well, that's good welfare that should exist. It should be funded, all right? welfare for the elderly, people who have been productive throughout their lives, but now are no longer have the strength or the mental facilities to be able to continue being productive. The amount of production that they put into the world, over the course of their lives should be rewarded in their summer years. That's absolutely fucking valid. Welfare for the disabled is welfare for the elderly and the disabled is great. People who can work, people who are young, people who are able-bodied. Like, I think a bare minimum unemployment benefit should exist, okay? If you are actively searching, if you are actively trying to be a productive member of society but can't because of circumstances, fine, you deserve welfare. If you have a stupid boss who fires you for literally no reason just because they're a fucking bitch, you deserve compensation for that. You deserve welfare. People like me, I don't fucking need welfare. I don't want welfare. I was taught at a young age to enjoy the grind. I think the American dream is finding work and doing the bare minimum at work. If you have a job where you sit on your ass and press a couple of buttons every day, good! I'm happy for you. You deserve to be paid. If you're someone like me who sits on their ass the vast majority of the time they're at work, I think that I am living the American dream right now. I think that having one of the easiest jobs that I've ever had in my life and getting paid a good amount to be able to live, to be able to provide for myself and the people that I love while still living a productive life at work. I do most of my editing at work for YouTube. Most of my editing, the Brian Vickers video was filmed, recorded. Okay, not recorded. The voice stuff was done here, but it was, researched, it was written, it was edited, it was uploaded while I was on the clock at work. I literally got paid to make YouTube videos, is what I'm trying to say. I think that's the American dream. But able-bodied people, especially young people, while they're still young and impressionable, they should not be handed everything to them by parents. They should not be spoiled. They shouldn't. If you have the ability to work, you should be working. And yet the unemployment rate remains high, even though the people that were laid off due to the fact that they had medical fucking exemptions from an experimental fucking vaccine that has had barely any research into it for the past 2 fucking years. I'm not against vaccine, guys. Polio vaccine, great. Meningitis vaccine, great. COVID vaccine, maybe after a couple fucking more years of research, maybe while fucking teenagers are not dying in the fucking hospital from heart fucking failure at age 17. Maybe at that point we can be like, this is good. But this shit's gonna get fucking clipped. This is gonna be on Twitter. I'm sure I'm gonna get canceled by the usual fucking suspects, the same ones that threw Corbyn under the bus with no evidence whatsoever and 0 allegations ever since the incident. And his career is fucking dead thanks to Twitter. I don't care. I don't fucking care. I've stopped caring. I don't care. I don't fucking give a shit. I've had enough of this bullshit. Go to fucking work, people. Like, seriously. Like, it has been a year and a half since the start of the pandemic. The supply chain is completely fucked. We're probably going to run out of everything eventually. We are going to be running out of food. We are going to be running out of other supplies. But people are still going to sit on fucking unemployment and do nothing because our fucking elected officials are complete fucking airheads who have no goddamn idea what they're doing. And society is crumbling at the seams. And, communism is literally going to take over everything. I don't mean to sound like, Joseph McCarthy right now, but like, we're fucked. Like, the West has fallen, is basically what I'm trying to say. Um, it's the death of the West. I wish I was wearing my Death of the West T-shirt that I just got, but it's the fucking death of the West. Society's gonna crumble. You will own nothing, and you will be happy. It's um, it's really cool. But I'm sure CNN will tell you differently. As you continue to, as the value of the dollar keeps, plummeting. When used cars are gonna start costing, $50,000 when it's gonna cost $10 to buy a fucking loaf of bread. CNN's gonna be like, actually, the economy is in the best shape that it's ever been. Aren't you glad that you voted out the orange man? Yeah, fucking. I fucking hate 2021. I said 2021 does not suck at the start of the year, and I mean, it's fun to watch the complete collapse. It is, without a doubt, very entertaining to see everything crumbling at the seams, but at the same time, it's pretty fucked up. God help us all. I don't even believe in God, and I'm saying this shit, dude. I don't know, man. Well, hopefully I get canceled and I can retire from YouTube and just fucking, watch from the sidelines. Anyway, hopefully I get tired at some point and I can go to sleep. In any case, thanks for watching. I'll see you in whatever I make next. Bye.